During my dad's retirement party, I asked if he liked the house I bought him. His reaction broke my heart. Can you imagine throwing a surprise retirement party for your dad, only to have it blow up in your face, exposing a betrayal so deep it ripped your family apart? I mean, I bought my parents a house, right? But when I asked my dad if he liked it, he just blinked and said, "What house?" My brother froze. My stomach dropped. I knew right then that nothing would ever be the same. So my name's Evan. I'm 32, the eldest, and yeah, I've always been the one who just lands on his feet. I'm an actor, you know? Commercials, little parts on streaming shows, a couple of indie films that basically paid me in craft services and exposure. I know my good side, how to cry on cue, how to smile at casting directors who tell you, "You're great, but we're going in another direction." At home, though, my role was simpler, the family fixer. I'd book flights, translate medical bills, show up with takeout when the month ran long. Dad still calls me kiddo, even though I'm well over 30, and Mom? She just laughs and says I act like a saint. My younger brother Liam, he's the details guy. The spreadsheet king, loves a binder, a lanyard. Calls himself a real estate person, which honestly is a bit generous for someone who never actually closed a deal without my money on the table. The night it all blew up was Dad's retirement party. Paper lanterns, those goofy disposable cameras, a huge banner across the VFW stage that read, "Thank you, Frank." Dad was just glowing, hugging everyone until their ribs squeaked. I'd brought a framed photo of him at 20, grinning in a hard hat, and I couldn't stop smiling. During his speech, I raised my hand like I was 12 again. "Do you like the house I bought you?" I said, beaming. He blinked. "What house?" The room just hiccuped. Conversation stalled. The DJ, bless his heart, pretended to fix something on his board. I turned to Liam. He froze. His jaw clenched just a fraction. Mom just stared at the cake like it might actually answer for her. "What house?" Dad repeated, softer this time, like the words themselves might bruise him. I stood up, my chair legs screeching across the floor. "Show me the deed," I said to Liam. "Now." He tried to joke. "Evan, not here." "Here?" I shot back, my voice completely steady. "Because this is where Dad is. Because this is where the truth is supposed to live." Aunt Norrin sucked in a breath. Uncle Joe muttered, "Jesus." The DJ cut the music entirely. Even the ice in the punch bowl sounded loud. Liam's face did this thing I'd seen in auditions, a flicker, a switch, a choice. He smiled. "Sit down, man. You're making a scene." I looked at Dad. His hands were shaking, but his eyes were clear. "Son," he said, and that was it. That single word. It felt like a key turning in a lock I'd been ignoring for years. The party didn't matter. The banner didn't matter. The disposable cameras didn't matter. I wanted that deed. I wanted the truth that should have come with it. It didn't start at the VFW hall, not really. It started with smaller things. It always does, right? When Mom's gallbladder went rogue, I booked the surgeon consult and paid the deposit. When the car died, I sent money, just to bridge you to payday. When Dad slipped on ice, I took time off a shoot and slept in a plastic chair at the hospital for 2 nights while Liam texted, "Keep me posted," from 2 towns over. "Evan's good at this stuff," Mom would say. And good at this stuff eventually just meant pays for whatever is written there. When my acting finally paid more than just rent and ramen, 2 network commercials back to back, plus a recurring paramedic on a procedural, I called Dad and said, "I want to do something big for you." He laughed. "You already did, kiddo. You grew up." "No," I said. "A house." Silence. Then a wet exhale. "Evan, I had the money for a down payment. I had good credit. I had the kind of optimism that makes people do reckless, kind things." Liam said, "Let me handle the paperwork. I know the county clerk. Less hassle." He sent me a checklist with like 30 items. He was calm. He was efficient. He was my brother. We looked at small places near their neighborhood. A 1-story with a ramp. 2 bedrooms so my sister's kids wouldn't have to sleep on the floor when they visited. Dad walked through each one like a pilgrim. "No stairs," he'd say, like a prayer. Mom ran her palm across countertops and whispered, "Imagine Thanksgiving." We chose this tan ranch with a pear tree in the yard. The seller was moving to Florida, wanted a quick close. I wired the down payment. I paid the inspection. I ordered a couch that didn't sag in the middle like a tired saint. Liam met me at a coffee shop with manila folders and a pen he loved a little too much. We're moving fast, he said. Seller wants to close by Friday. He slid papers across the table. Sign here and initial there. I signed. He even took a photo of me holding the key for our family group chat. Mom texted heart emojis. Dad wrote, "Can't believe it." Then, "You sure we can afford this?" I said, "Yes, I've got it." Moving day felt like a movie montage. Friends pizza. A neighbor who insisted we take a box of mismatched mugs. I set Dad's recliner by the window where the light fell soft. I hung a framed photo of my parents on their wedding day in the hallway and made some stupid joke about the 70s. Mom waved me off and cried into a dish towel. 2 weeks later, the water company sent a bill addressed to tenant. Mom just laughed and said, "Weird." But it kept happening. Tenant, occupant, current resident. I asked Liam about it. He said, "It's normal until the deed records. Bureaucracy is slow." He said it like he was patting my head. The mortgage autopay came out of an account I'd set up with him. He was co-manager because that seemed easier than me answering emails between auditions. He sent me monthly summaries with cheerful subject lines. All good. I skimmed. I trusted. I went back to set and practice saying, "We've got a 10 to 54 over on 3rd, without sounding like a robot. Then little weirdnesses piled up. A letter from a bank I didn't recognize with Dad's name, and a 7-figure pre-approval number. Mom mentioned a man had knocked, asking if the owner was available. And when she said it was her house, he'd laughed politely and said, "I mean the owner." I asked Liam again. Deed should have posted by now. Clerk's behind. He said, "Flip of the switch soon." I looked online. I found nothing under Dad's name. I found a parcel number attached to an LLC I didn't know, Merrill Lane Holdings. I asked Liam. He said, "That's just a holding entity. Standard stuff. Liability protection. You want Dad sued if the mailman trips." Julia, my girlfriend then my wife now, stared at the screen and said, "Why does the mailing address for that LLC go to a UPS store with mailbox number 214? Ask Liam," I said. She did. He replied, "It's fine." I wanted it to be fine. I wanted my brother to be the man I handed papers to in coffee shops. He'd always been the kid who lined up his crayons. He was the one who knew how to open a 529 plan. I played dying soldiers. He handled living forms. We fit. 3 months in, Dad's old truck needed repairs. I said, "Use the emergency fund on the house account." Liam said, "We can't cash flow." I blinked. "I've been funding it." "Just timing," he said. "A wire is delayed." My stomach went cold. Julia said, "Call the county. Ask for the deed status." I did. The woman on the phone was kind. "What's your name?" "Evan." "What's the property address?" I told her. "I'm not seeing a deed recorded to a private individual," she said. "It's held by an LLC." She read me the name. It matched the mailbox. "Who's the authorized signer?" I asked. She read a name. It wasn't Dad's. It wasn't mine. "Liam Porter," she said. I hung up and sat on the floor of my apartment, the cheap rug pressing a grid into my palms. I called Liam. "Why is the deed in your company's name?" He laughed. "Oh my God, chill. It's for taxes. We'll assign it to Dad. There's a sequence." When I asked after the refi, he said, "We get a better rate that way. You want to save money, right, Ev?" The word clanged. "You refinanced the house I bought without my permission?" "It's my permission," he said, suddenly sharp. "I'm the manager. This is how deals work." "You're not a deal," I said. "You're my brother." He softened instantly like he'd flipped a switch I didn't know he had. "Ev, I'm optimizing. You're busy. Let me carry this. Dad will never have to worry." And I wanted to believe him so badly it ached. I said, "Okay, but I want the deed in Dad's name by the end of the summer." "Done," he said. Summer ended. The deed didn't change. The mailbox number did. The summaries stopped. The house got a second owner inquiry letter. I circled the date on my wall calendar. Dad's retirement party was in 2 weeks. I told Julia, "I'll ask him then." If the deed is in his name, we'll celebrate. If it isn't, she said, you'll stop letting a lie sit at the head of the table. So back to the VFW hall. Halogen lights. The banner. The silence that followed. What house? Show me the deed, I told Liam. He did the grin. Bro, take out your phone. I said. Open the recorder. Walk me through it. Dad said. Boys not boys. I said, eyes on Liam. 2 men, 1 deed. Mom's hand hovered over the cake knife like she could carve our problem into slices. Evan, you're embarrassing your father. My father, I repeated. Exactly. Liam sighed theatrically and pulled out his phone. Fine, here's the portal, he tapped. The little loading wheel spun. Nothing, he smirked. Bad service. I held out my hand. Give me the login. Absolutely not, he said. Client data. Dad's the client, I said. I'm the funder. Uncle Joe cleared his throat. Maybe step outside. No, Dad said, voice steady. He pointed at Liam's phone. Log in. Now. Something shifted. Respect. Command. The man we were throwing a party for had walked cranes and crews for 30 years. He could still move steel with his voice. Liam logged in. He turned the screen toward me and scrolled fast, like speed could erase facts. I caught enough. The LLC's name. Helic transfers marked member draw. Dates that matched his cash flow issues. Numbers that made my throat go dry. How much? I asked. He shrugged. Numbers move. You wouldn't understand. Try me, I said. How much did you pull against Dad's house? He rolled his eyes. Our house. Dad's house, I said. Answer the question. Mom whispered, Liam. Like she already knew the answer and hated all of us for getting there. He snapped. Okay. 200. Give or take. The room made a sound, not a gasp, a groan like something old giving way. 200,000? I said. For investments, he said quickly. Short-term high yield. We're up, actually. Julia stepped closer. Then pay it back. Assign the deed and apologize. He scoffed. Who are you again? The person who will help Evan take this to a lawyer, she said. Mom clutched the knife. Don't bring outsiders into family business. I looked at Dad. Did you sign anything? He shook his head. Your brother said it was complicated. He said he had it. You gave him power of attorney, Mom said. A small confession. Just temporary for convenience. My mouth went hot. You gave him POA without telling me? You were busy, she said. You're always busy. Dad put both hands flat on the table. His knuckles were scraped like they always were. Liam, he said. Fix this. I am fixing it. Liam shot back. But I can't if he thumbed at me. Throws a tantrum in the middle of my timeline. I pulled a small stack of paper from my jacket. Screenshots. Printed bank wires. Emails. The parcel page with the mailbox address. I laid them beside the cake like another dessert. No more timelines, I said. Deed now, or I call the bank and the county, and whoever else picks up when I say the word fraud. He laughed, a short, mean sound. You won't. I took out my phone and dialed on speaker. The bank's fraud line rang. A woman answered. How can I help? Liam reached for the phone. Evan. I stepped back. Hi, I said. I'm calling to report suspected abuse of a power of attorney and possible fraud on a Helic tied to an LLC owning my parents' residence. The room held its breath. The woman asked for details. I gave them. Liam swore under his breath. Mom started to cry. Dad sat down hard like a man who had set down something heavy. When I hung up, I looked at my brother. This is the clean version, I said. The one where we fix it before handcuffs. He stared at me like he'd never seen me. You'd ruin me, he whispered. You did that, I said. I'm just turning on the lights. The DJ, bless him, quietly started a slow song, like a towel over a broken glass. People pretended to dance. Aunt Narain hugged Mom. Uncle Joe steered Dad toward a chair. I put my hand on Dad's shoulder. I'll fix it, I said, and for once it didn't feel like a trap. It felt like a job with steps and an end. Liam walked out. He didn't look back. The party limped on. We sang anyway. Dad cut the cake with hands that didn't shake. When he fed Mom a bite, she smiled through tears. Happy retirement, I said into his ear. Happy truth, he said back. Monday 9 a.m. I was at a lawyer's office that smelled like paper and strong coffee. Julia sat beside me, legal pad ready. The attorney listened, didn't blink, and said, "We start with 3 things. Revoke the PO, freeze the HELOC, record a notice of interest to stop title. Funny business." He said funny business like a surgeon saying tumor. We drove straight to the notary. Dad signed the revocation with a jaw like a set screw. Mom signed too, cheeks blotchy. The bank put a hold on the line after 10 minutes of me and the attorney tag teaming on the phone. The county clerk stamped our notice with a thwack that still echoes in my head when I try to sleep. Liam called 13 times that day. I let them ring. He texted, "You're overreacting." Then, "You're killing a good deal." Then, "You're dead to me." I told the lawyer. He said, "Save everything." A forensic accountant, another phrase I learned that week, followed the money like a hound. The investments were crypto gambles, a speculative restaurant, and a coaching program that promised passive income for people who like to say mindset a lot. High yield, he'd said. More like high fantasy. We filed a civil action. Breach of fiduciary duty, conversion, fraud. I signed my name on paper that felt heavy. Mom asked if we could handle it quietly. The lawyer said, "We are." Family opinions arrived like junk mail. Aunt Narain. "Blood is blood, Uncle Joe. Make him make it right." A cousin I barely knew. "Bro, that's brutal." My sister texted, "You always wanted a spotlight. Congrats." Dad didn't say much. He came with me to meetings. He sat straight in chairs too small for him. He looked at the ledger like it was a map he couldn't read. After we left the accountant's office, he said, "I taught you to share. I didn't teach you to be stupid." Then he put his hand on my neck, like when I was 10 and missed a grounder. "You're not stupid," he added quickly. "You're good." Mom cycled through stages like a slideshow. Denial. "It's a misunderstanding." Bargaining. "Can't we just put it back?" Anger. "How dare you sue your brother?" And then a quiet that made me nervous. She touched the pear tree in the yard and said, "I wanted us all to sit under it." I said, "We still can." She said, "Maybe not all." Meanwhile, Rent and Life didn't pause for drama. I still auditioned. I still sat under fluorescent lights while a room of strangers watched me eat fake cereal and emote in 4 different moods. I booked a guest spot as a distracted barista. I learned the lines between bank calls. Oat milk, fraud affidavit, extra shot, freeze the account. Felt absurd and normal at once. Liam finally responded through a lawyer who used phrases like vigorous defense. We offered a path. Return the funds, assign the deed, sign a consent judgment, join a payment plan, avoid criminal referrals. He countered with a letter that accused me of financial elder abuse because I controlled Dad. I wanted to throw the letter through a window. The attorney said, "It's noise." We pushed discovery. Subpoenas went out. The mailbox rental company sent copies of forms with Liam's signature. The bank coughed up transfers labeled LLC to LP Personal. His real estate company had one asset, our house. His portfolio was a spreadsheet with colors and no cash. At home, pragmatic things kept me upright. We installed a deadbolt. Dad could work with a big friendly key. I labeled the breaker box. I taught Mom how to spot phishing emails, and she printed the list like a new recipe. Julia made soup and told me to nap. I didn't, but I liked that someone said it. 6 weeks in, the judge granted our injunction. The deed couldn't move. The HELOC couldn't grow. Liam texted, "Traitor." I didn't answer. When he showed up at the house one afternoon, Dad met him on the porch. I watched from the window like a kid again. "I'm your son," Liam said. "I have 2, Dad said. Then, after a beat, "Don't come here without your lawyer." Liam laughed, a sound with no humor in it. He looked at the pear tree, at the couch through the window, at the house that should have been simple. "You'll regret this," he said. Dad's voice was gentle and terrible. "I already do." That night, I sat on the floor beside the couch I'd picked, and Julia sat with me. "I feel like the bad guy," I said. "You feel like the adult," she said. "It's new." The civil case crawled as cases do. We got a mediator. We spent 4 hours in separate rooms, sending offers across a hallway like messages in bottles. Liam wanted me to drop the narrative on social media, even though I hadn't posted a word. I wanted a clean deed and a payment plan with teeth. We left with a tentative agreement. He had to sign the deed, sign a confession of judgment for the Helic balance, and pay over 5 years. If he defaulted, we could enforce without another fight. He signed. We recorded the new deed with Dad's name on it. The clerk stamped it and smiled at me like a person who's seen both kinds of stories. I took Dad to the counter. "Read it," I said. He traced his name with his finger softly. Mom cried into the sleeve of my jacket. We went home and sat under the pear tree and did nothing for a long time. Family didn't snap back like a rubber band. Some relatives took Liam's side because it was easier than facing their own debts. Others called me and whispered, "Proud of you," like it was contraband. Holidays rearranged themselves. We had Thanksgiving in the backyard with 3 folding tables and a borrowed heater. It was small. It was enough. The best part was the quiet. The mail came with Dad's name on it. The water bill said owner. The bank app didn't surprise me. Mom texted pictures of the pear blossoms and nothing about money. When the truck made a funny noise, Dad said, "I'll take the bus till payday," and then grinned like a teenager because the bus driver recognized him from the party and waved him on free. I put the framed photo of Dad in the hard hat on the mantel. He picked it up and said, "I had hair." I said, "You still do." He said, "Not like that." We laughed. Laughter felt like furniture we could sit on again. I didn't become a different person. I became the same person with boundaries. The headline is simple. I bought my father a house. My brother put it in his company and borrowed against it. And I ripped the curtain down in front of a banner that said, "Thank you, Frank." The details are messy, eh? They always are. There were signatures I didn't read closely enough. There was trust one place where paper should have gone. There were 100 tiny, sure okay moments that built a trap I lived inside. Here's what I know now in plain words. If someone wants your money but hides the paperwork, that's not family, it's a pitch. Convenience is the word people use right before they take your keys. Love is not a POA. And protecting your parents from your brother is still love. I keep the stamp deed in a cheap black frame on Dad's bookshelf. He dusts it like a trophy. Mom taped the county clerk's business card inside a kitchen cabinet like a talisman. When the mail comes, Dad says, "Owner." And it lands on the table like something we earned. Liam and I don't talk. Maybe we will someday, after the last payment clears, after he learns how to apologize without an invoice attached. Maybe not. People like tidy arcs. Life keeps handing me ellipses. On set, I still play men who can't say what they mean until the last scene. In life, I said it at the party. "Show me the deed." I hear that line in my own voice now. It's become a script I can use for other things. Show me the contract. Show me the terms. Show me the respect. Dad asks sometimes, "You okay, kiddo?" I say yes and mostly mean it. On good days, I make eggs in their new kitchen and fix the wobbly chair and leave before anyone can hand me a bill. On great days, we sit under the pear tree and say nothing, which is a language we started learning late and speak better every week. If you're standing in a room where the music stops the second you ask for proof, listen to that silence. It's telling you everything. Ask anyway. Ask louder if they tell you to lower your voice. You're not ruining the party. You're turning on the lights. At my dad's retirement party, I asked, "Do you like the house I bought you?" He blinked and said, "What house?" I stood up. I asked for the deed. I got it eventually with stamps and signatures and consequences. I didn't want a victory. I wanted a house with a pear tree, and a man who can sit under it without wondering who he owes. We have that now. This isn't revenge. It's repair. And if you need a line for your own scene, take mine. Show me the deed. Then keep asking until the paper in your hand matches the promise in their mouths. Have you ever had to confront a family member about something this deep? What happened and how did you find the courage to speak up? Let me know in the comments below.